welcome to this special episode of Investors Hangout. This fortnightly interaction is brought to you by Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Funds and Value Research. Well, I said this episode is special because it's Women's Day and we have an all-women team here. I have with me two mutual fund analysts from Value Research. Welcome, Shruti. Shruti has come in specially from Rajasthan for this, and welcome, Sneha.
Hi, Ruchira.
It's Women's Day, and for this specific episode, I was going through some statistics. According to a 2019 report, barely 33% women take independent financial decisions as compared to 64% men. So while it was a little disappointing, there are many more studies which suggest that women are becoming financially savvier. And while we're talking about it, I must mention that with its For Her initiative, Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund is on a mission to educate, to empower women to take financial decisions, to be more financially independent. So guys, we've been working together, and generally in life also I've seen that women are more conscious and careful when it comes to money. Yeah. And you two are in this profession. But you also belong to the age where people, think they have this mentality that this is the moment, splurge. And so do you guys actually invest या फिर ये सब ज्ञान है?
No, we actually do invest.
We walk our talk.
Yeah. Okay, great. I'm curious to know about your story, Sneha.
So howsoever basic it may sound, it was actually to not get caught off guard, on a rainy day. And to simultaneously have a backup plan for the golden years. And as you grow and evolve, you tend to get realize there are more certain financial goals that you would want to invest for. So yeah, and what brought that thought in my mind was basically, while my parents used to give me this monthly allowance as pocket money, my grandmother separately used to give me this rupee 100 note every month. And when I used to get out of my pocket money, which was quite frequent because of course everybody does. So that 100 rupee note acted as my backup plan. So it was then when I realized the importance of savings, so to say. So yeah, that
Shruti,
was why.
What's your story?
So I started taking keen interest in personal finance and investing when I was awaiting my exam results. And fortunately, I had a lot of time during those days because, some of the best days of your life are when exams are over and results are not yet declared. But unfortunately, most of my friends lived in different cities that time. So learning about personal finance and investing became one of my pastime activity. And it all just started with this one thought, like, how am I going to manage my money since I'll start earning soon? So I remember a lot of my early learnings came from YouTube, and then I gradually started reading books. It just started off, and I've seen my father, since childhood, he has been an investor, and both in FDs and stocks. And like if anyone walks into my house, he can find him watching CNBC. Not that he invests a lot of money, but he just likes watching CNBC. Like it's his pastime activity. So I was introduced to this concept since childhood. Yeah. So these were not like very technical stuff for me. And then I also come from commerce background. So I understood what is stock, what is investments, and all those things in basic. But I would say studying things academically and then applying them into your practical life, they just require two different mental muscle. So, but in our lifetime, there are various buckets where we have different goals during different phases of life, and it's hard to achieve your goal without money. You have to plan for things, like you need to generate wealth so that you have your freedom, like what work you want and what things you want from life. And then obviously, as Sneha mentioned, for those golden years of your life, you need money.
It's interesting. You so early on in your life also you were thinking about the golden years and all because
Yeah. I guess that comes from the academic background.
Or,
I guess it's a mix of both.
Both.
So I think I've inherited some of these, behavioral tenets from my father because he's a very calculative kind of a person. Like he'll just plan everything, and he needs a very certainty in life. Like he has to know ki if he'll retire, then is he having sufficient money or not? And if any goal is approaching, then is he having a backup plan or not? So I think I have those things in me ki you need to have some plan in your life. Obviously, uncertain things will come, but at least you should have a roadmap in your mind, like what you want to achieve.
Right.
So that's our story, Ruchira. What about you? And I believe you have much more experience than us when it comes to money and investing.
Experience, yes. Age factor, I would say. But yeah, I started investing pretty early on in my life. Right after my college, I got my first job, 2004. And I had my sisters.
Quite a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time now. And my sisters, they had been, pushing me to, you should, from day one, you should start doing this, you should start doing that. And I was mindful of, somehow it was there at the back of my mind. So though the first salary was negligible, I did manage to, start investing from the first salary onwards. And
In fact,
initially,
I started my investing journey from my first salary because, like, till the time I got my first paycheck, I already knew a lot of basics, so it naturally flew.
yeah, so with me, it was the minimum possible amount. I started with 500 rupees in mutual funds. And the best part, I would say, is that I used to do it and forget about it. And especially in those days, we used to get a statement at the end of the month by post.
Yeah.
And, you couldn't keep going back to it and check what is the amount now. So you had to do it. Agar chahte bhi the, to you had to forget about it.
And now it's very
changed so
easy at
much
the
now.
click of a button. You can click redeem, invest, and all those
Yeah,
things.
so then it happened, and gradually I pushed my husband to start investing, and thankfully we're doing it together now, and
That's a great thing, actually.
that's how we started it. Great.
For me, I actually started out after 6 months of being into the job. So, because I had the theoretical knowledge, I wanted to gain some insights into what is the practicality of all of it. So I actually spent some time on that, understanding how to make the investments and where to, why. I wanted to answer all the questions for myself first, and then of course it was a few clicks because of course now we are in the digital era. So yeah.
Our generation is blessed. Things are easier.
Yeah, things are much easier, but then that also has its drawback, no? That every day you go back to it, and whenever it falls, you're tempted to move out of it. So I think that's also okay. So that was our story. That was how we, the Women Brigade at Value Research, started our journey. But now let's listen into Sunaina Da Cunha, co-head fixed income at Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC. Sunaina, how did you start your journey? How's been the journey for you?
So, Ruchira, I was privileged to be born in a family that put great emphasis on education and ensuring economic independence through career orientation. When I was finishing school, in the same way that they did with my elder sister, my parents sat me down and explained all the various careers that were available and possible, and the various streams of study that I would require to achieve that, and to get into those kind of careers. And I think even at that stage, finance and investments is something that really appealed to me. And I went on to pursue commerce and then an MBA in finance from FMS Delhi. Maybe in hindsight, unconsciously, subconsciously, the fact that my dad was heading an NBFC may have, piqued my interest in it and, had something to do with it. But anyway, in B school, security analysis and portfolio management were topics and courses that really fascinated me, and I was very, very interested in it. And as a result, when I got a job offer on campus to join the investment team at Aditya Birla Mutual Fund, I just jumped at it. And I've actually never, ever really looked back, because this role has, allowed me to use analytical skills to understand the macro and the micro, synthesize thousands of various different data points, how a small event here can have an impact, a wide-ranging impact, and ramifications, understand politics, global politics, and, balance all of it in order to make quick decision-making for investments and for portfolios. And that's something that really challenges me every single day. And hence, 18 years ago, I started off at Aditya Birla Mutual Fund as an analyst. Couple of years later, moved into fund management, and then I pursued my CFA whilst working, and now I co-head fixed income investments at Birla.
Well, that was Sunaina, and despite the number of female mutual fund managers being dismally low in Indian mutual fund industry, Sunaina has managed to be where she is today, and I think kudos to that. Now, guys, we've been earning for a few years, we've been investing for a few years. Tell me, what does financial independence mean to you?
For me, it's all about being financially empowered. When I know that I'm aware of my finances and I'm in control of my finances. So, in simple language, that is for me being financially independent.
Shruti?
For me, financial independence is, getting freedom in life. Like, because we talk about women empowerment a lot, like equal rights, equal opportunities, equal pay. But I think if you're financially empowered, you naturally get all of those rights, and people start respecting you. People give weightage to your opinion, because now you are not just
Now you're not dependent on someone as easy as that for finances or anybody, not your brother, not your husband. I think that makes a huge
and
difference.
it also increases your confidence. So it just shows in your talk, it shows on your face. So people, a lot of times it is said that you have to have confidence on yourself if you want people to have confidence on you.
Exactly.
So
That is the
that's
fact
what,
of life, I
yeah, so that's what financial independence brings to you.
Okay, then what do you think? How can women become financially independent?
I feel there's nothing, nothing different that women have to do. It applies to everybody, every individual. So, like we discussed, it's all about having that willingness to understand and learn. So it's okay if you don't know a few basic principles or terminologies, but then you can make an effort to learn about it and understand. So nowadays, or since generations, it's very common for one spouse to take care of certain issues, certain responsibilities, and the other can handle something else. But the thing is, it's important to actively engage yourself in financial decisions, of the family, of your spouse, or be it anybody, rather than leaving it completely on the other person. So I guess it's very, so that will be the first step, getting to know the stuff. And I feel it is very prudent to remain informed about certain important documents of the house. So this during these COVID days, I guess this health insurance, life insurance, all of this had gained some next level importance. So knowing where all of this is kept, where your health insurance card is kept, is something that every family member should know. You never know
When you need it.
need, of course. And that is how the life is, like, uncertain and everything. So I guess, yeah. And in case you realize, be it a man or a woman of the family, that certain things are not organized, but they should be. So personally, I feel that women really have a knack of managing things, organizing things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, budgeting and stuff like that. So take hold of that thing. Assign a specific drawer where you'll keep your nominee details, insurance cards, and everything. So I guess that is how one can achieve financial independence, being in control of what you have. And then I guess regarding the underlying principles of saving, investing, again, that is no rocket science, which is different for men or women. Make sure to practice personal finance hygiene, like have adequate insurance coverages, and look to have some emergency surplus with yourself. So
I think women are really good at that. During COVID times, not just COVID times, during demonetization, it was the women who came up with a lot of cash.
That was their secret being,
Exactly.
Yeah.
out in
and
public.
this is something which women have been doing for
Since
centuries.
ages, yeah.
Since ages, right?
true.
And I think this is because women, men are generally, they become casual risk takers. Women in general, even if they're taking risk, they need to have some backup plan. They just think that some protection should be there. And
I think it's the wiring
it's
issue.
the
That's how we are
evolution, I think,
wired.
that has happened since we lived in caves, I think.
Right.
But when it comes to issues like taxation and insurance, you mentioned insurance. So that is when, for someone like me who has not studied finance in college, so these are the issues that throw you a little off guard. You look at the document and there's so much jargon that you're.
I agree.
Yeah. So then, what's the solution for that, Shruti?
So I am a chartered accountant, so it will be very embarrassing for me if I say I'm not doing my taxes on my own. But jokes aside, studying things academically and applying them in your practical life are two different things, because I have read taxation. It was a separate subject in my CA final. I've studied ATC and all those things, but nobody taught us like which option is better, how to go about it. We just knew, okay, ATC, if a question comes, then we have to take these things in this section. But when I started earning, then I started exploring like what investment option will give me most tax efficiency and all those things. So yeah.
So even someone like you had to go back and study again to be able to.
I pulled out my CA final notes again just to see what all things were there.
So yeah, it all boils down to the willingness factor, right? To understand and go forward with it. So that was the case with me as well.
And it's no rocket science. And at the end of the day, it's no rocket science. And each one of us can go back to. These days, it's even easier.
With so much content readily available on the internet, one should definitely make use of it, right?
And I think it's just the opposite now. Like earlier, people didn't have resources to study. Now there is abundance, and you have to select what all resources.
Actually, that also has its drawbacks because anyone these days is saying anything on the internet.
Yeah.
So you have to be really cautious with what what is it that you are absorbing.
Right.
Exactly.
You have to be selective to decide what is good and what will not be good for yourself. So yeah.
So I think that also depends individually. What are your goals? What is it that you should be following? How much of it should you be absorbing?
even family discussions are a good way to sort of sort this thing out, because with me, all the financial decisions it's more of a family discussion, be it a family's investment decision as one, or for any particular family member. It's always a family discussion. The pros and cons are discussed on the table, and then something which seems fine, that is what we go forward with.
Yeah, that's a good point. In fact, I've observed it in my own house. Like my mother, she also comes from a commerce background, but she knew nothing about investing when she was married. But like, since, as I mentioned, my father, he's a keen CNBC watcher, and he takes investing seriously. My mother, he used to discuss things with my mother. And it was my mother's willingness to learn those things. She now sometimes tracks stock market more than my father. Like she would call him up sometimes, like, so and so share is doing this or that. In fact, my younger brother, like he's studying in college, and in my family, discussing finance is very normal. Like I know in a lot of Indian families, people don't
That
discuss
won't be the
finance on a
case.
dining
Yeah.
table, but it's very common at my house. And
I think it's great to discuss finance because that is the first step to
so my brother started feeling left out. He was the only one who will keep mum, and my father and I are discussing, my mother is discussing. So that also nudged him, to start thinking about investing, and he would ask us questions and then he'll go back. A lot of his friends are doing so. These things
Matter.
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And when it comes to getting started, do you think how do you think should one get started with investing?
I think one of the biggest obstacle that deters people to start investing is the lack of awareness. So it's high time women and everybody else, they should start prioritizing money management. It should be a necessity and not an option. Like so far, especially women, they have left aside this thing for the male members of the family, because that's how we have evolved. But now things have changed. Women
More women earning
Right.
and
More women
yeah.
joining the workforce and everything.
and women are more educated also. Like earlier women were not that educated, but so now they know things. And I would also like to mention here that a lot of times people think that financial independence or financial empowerment is only for working women. As a homemaker also, you have a lot of responsibilities that you can take upon, and it will contribute for the entire financial planning of the house.
And I guess even homemakers, they really have a part to play in the whole personal finance thing, because when we talk about budgeting and stuff like that,
Yeah.
so homemakers have always been at the top of all of this.
Yeah.
So, and investing only comes after managing the expenses, right? You only invest the surplus. So yeah,
Homemakers know how to make the best out of whatever
they have. Yeah, right.
So first thing is, prioritizing financial empowerment. Second thing is, don't wait for a large amount to start, because a lot of people think that as you said, your first salary was negligible, but then also you started.
Because I think the early you start, most of us don't have many responsibilities at that age. It's only later in life that there are so many responsibilities that you have to think about a lot of things. That somehow, is an impediment. But if you've started early and you've seen the magic happen, then you wouldn't want to stop, I guess.
And also, if you start early, you have the luxury of making mistakes, because if you have financial responsibilities, then you will play it very safe. And a lot of times, even if you play safe, you will commit mistakes.
But those mistakes at later stages might hit you hard as compared to at the earlier stages.
Yeah, it's about making habits, good habits, and then following them religiously. So, and as you said, mutual funds, it's possible to start investing with a very low amount. And even other investment avenues, like whatever makes you feel comfortable, you don't have to get everything perfect in your first move.
So, I would like to say, whosoever is watching this particular episode, if you have been thinking of investing and, have not been able to do, now is the time, perfect time. Just start out now.
And since we're talking about getting started, what was your first investment, Sneha?
Yeah, so given my academic background, I did have the theoretical knowledge of how, the equity market works and everything. But since I was just starting out, I was a bit on the conservative side. So I made sure to start out with hybrid funds, which, are a mix of equity and debt. So the debt sort of helps stabilize the market movements that we see in equity. So yeah, I chose the hybrid way. And I made sure to, at least for 1.5 years, stick to it till the time I get acclimatized to the equity volatility.
Okay, Shruti, what about you?
So my first investment was in an index fund. It was a Nifty 50 index fund. So just for the sake of our viewers, index funds replicate an index. Like Nifty and Sensex are the two most popular indices in India. And here the fund manager has not much of an active role because you don't have to think which stocks to buy and when to buy. You just simply buy whatever there is in the index in the same proportion. So for a newbie, I think it's a very good way to start because you don't have to figure out how to choose the best mutual fund scheme because it's very easy. Index funds, you don't have to see which fund manager is the best, which mutual fund company is the best. So that helped me get started with mutual funds, and then eventually I invested in more schemes, both active and passive, and I increased my amount also. But when I started investing, my parents also forced me to put a certain amount in a bank RD, and to be honest, because I was starting out that time, so I thought, okay, just a certain amount I can put in an RD, and at least I have the freedom for the rest of the amount that I can explore my investing journey on my own. But somewhere down the line, I realized that mutual funds are much more tax efficient than bank FDs. And so I educated myself, and then I convinced my parents. I explained to them like how debt mutual funds are much more superior for me and not a bank RD, and they both agreed. But the best part was like few months down the line, my father broke one of his FD and he invested in an equity mutual fund because now he realized, like FDs are not a wealth creator, right? It's good if you can keep your emergency money or for your short-term goals, but for long-term wealth creation, you have to have equity. So, and mutual funds are very, very convenient. Like in direct stocks, you have to have some temperament and behavior. Like you don't have to panic when markets are falling, and you have to have that discipline. So I think mutual funds SIP are very good way to have that discipline.
Okay, now let's come to the fun part. I want to know what are the investing mistakes that you two have committed, and for that, to make it a little more fun and spontaneous, I have a rapid fire question round for you.
Okay, so it's rapid fire with Ruchira then.
So, who's gonna go first?
Do we have any hamper?
We don't have any hamper, but I will treat you guys.
Oh, okay.
I think Sneha can go first. There's no point of winning.
All right then, Sneha, are you ready?
Yes, I'm up for it.
Okay then, investment guru you admire the most?
I admire a lot of people, but there's no specific, investment guru that I follow.
Okay, while I ask this question, one thing which is very striking is that there's no woman investment guru.
So, yeah, that is actually...
Maybe one of you can, be in the future. Okay, great. A proud moment in your investing journey.
I guess that would be when I started, investing more than 50% of my earnings. So that would be...
That's huge.
That's huge. Yeah. Okay, an investment decision that you now regret.
So I'll take a pause here and tell you a short story. I wanted to, get first-hand experience and of this IPO madness that we've been seeing. And I had applied for a lot of IPOs, but I had made sure that, I only put a small amount of my overall surplus. So even if it backfires to a limited extent.
Your party fund.
Exactly, you can say that. So I was allotted shares of this one fintech company which was quite overvalued, and now I am sitting on losses. So I actually regret not being selective, there while applying for IPOs.
Okay, and one most rewarding financial habit of yours?
Most rewarding, I'll say that in being able to increase my SIPs in tandem with my earnings. So I guess that is something that has for now been rewarding, and I'm pretty sure it will be as I have time by my side.
And your worst money mistake?
I guess I'm yet to commit one.
Okay.
Lucky girl.
Yeah. All right. So Shruti, are you ready?
Yeah.
Your favorite finance influencer?
So as I mentioned, I started my learnings from YouTube. So I have two favorite YouTubers, CA Rachna Ranade and Pranjal Kamra.
Okay.
But
Then,
I like to mention here that I don't buy into everything that these influencers say. You have to have your own judgment.
your favorite personal finance book.
Uh, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
All right. Your most daring financial adventure.
What was daring for me might look like very normal for a lot of people. So I dabbled with cryptocurrency a couple of months ago.
That's
And
pretty daring.
yeah, I mean for financially sincere people, it sounds pretty daring. But the objective was not to get rich quick or you to just have a lottery kind of a scheme. But you know, I was having this FOMO factor, like everyone is talking about cryptocurrency, and let's just forget about the investment case. But as a technology, it's revolutionary, right? Like we are talking about blockchain and a lot of things, a lot of industries that will benefit out of blockchain technology. So I was trying to read a lot about crypto and blockchain, but somehow I was not able to take out time. So I thought, let's just put some money in crypto, because when you have your own skin in the game, you tend to track things there. So I put a very small amount, like 5,000 rupees. So it's the same like when Elon Musk puts some billion trillions in cryptocurrency, but in context of his wealth, it's a small amount. So yeah, that was a good experience.
Okay. And if you could go back on one investment decision, what would that be?
So I remember I sold one of my stock holdings pretty early on. So I booked profits, and I was pretty happy with whatever profit I was getting. But after I sold it off, the price just shot up. So I regret for booking my profits that
Okay.
early.
Then last one for you. Silly money habit that you have.
I'm a little shopaholic, but the best part is I have a realization of this habit of mine. So I have my own, I've devised my own procedures and tactics to keep myself in check of whatever I'm spending. And I'm in general a bargain hunter, so I don't end up spending a lot of money.
All right. Kudos. That was great.
So Ruchira, we have revealed a lot of our secrets. What are your goof ups?
Okay. Then I have been a little conservative, but the thing is, थोड़ा इधर थोड़ा उधर करके at one point of time I had only almost 10 funds in my portfolio. I think that was being over diversified. I've learned it along the way, but yeah, that was my goof up, I would say. Now before we move on, Sunaina, would you please give a word of advice to all the women investors out there?
So, I think the first piece of advice would be to start investing and to invest regularly. uh, you know, women need to create and build their portfolios basis the various goals that they have. They could be short-term goals, long-term goals, but keeping those goals in mind, they should formulate their portfolio and take help of a financial advisor if it's required. But after you invest, also regularly keep monitoring that portfolio and rebalance it, recalibrate it basis ever-changing goals as well as what the original design and plan was. And nowadays it's actually very easy to do this because all information, all data is available at the tips of your fingers, sitting in the comfort of your house. Because lots of information, lots of views, news is available on the net. Investments can be made online. You can even do your eKYC through video online. And a lot of these calculators are also available that help you plan your goals, buying a house or investing for education, planning your retirement. So, make use of all these various tools available. Clearly have in mind your various goals and build your portfolio, plan your savings and investments to actually help you achieve that. So I think that's the key message for investing.
Okay, thank you, Sunaina. Great, then. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this episode. Thank you, Shruti. Thank you, Sneha. It was great fun having you two here.
Thank you, Ruchira, for having us.
Thank you to all our viewers. Do keep sending us your questions. Keep watching this space for more information. And if you like the show, do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.